Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another BlazeCast presentation. I'm your host, Blaze, and we're jumping into a game from the defense group stages. We're looking at a game between Haz Asians and EG, Evil Geniuses. Jumping right into it, the draft shortly. And what we're looking at here is we've got Haz Asians, the European team, with team members such as Hip Hop, No Pop, Theta, Credasia, Unicorn, RMC, who was listed as the leader. I actually don't know much about this team. I haven't seen them personally, but I'm assuming since they're in this tournament in the first place that they are very competent in their European style and everything along those lines. But yeah, RMC is listed as the leader, but currently we have Hip Hop, No Hop drafting, so we'll see how his drafting styles come out. And of course we have the famous, infamous, whatever you want to call it, we got the Evil Geniuses. They're an American team, and so I do have a little bit of bias in that direction, but I think that it should be pretty well equivalated out. That's not even a word. But anyways, continuing on, we got Milk as their team captain. He likes to play supportive heroes. Universe, Demon, likes to play carry type stuff. Bulba and Fear. I mean, we got our standard heroes, players here, and we'll get jumping right into the bands and all that. We got Brewmaster and Broodmother on the Radiant band, which is actually interesting. You don't see those kind of bands. They're good picks. They're always considered good picks, but recently they have not been that well considered top tier picks. And when you're letting through like Lycan and Chaos Knight, that's going to be jumping into some pretty crazy meta. Yeah, Darkseer and Leshrac, very common bands from EG, pusher, counter pusher type stuff, and they just are very formidable foes, and that's something that they don't want to give up, especially when they do not have the first pick available. Now, Haz Asians does ban Lycan, so they're probably looking at picking up a Chaos Knight if that ban doesn't come in from EG. Otherwise, Invoker, Nature's Prophet, Chen, all on the board. So, let's see exactly where that goes. But yeah, just letting you guys know, I'm Blaze, and I'm relatively new to casting, still trying to improve my skills with it and kind of get more practice along those lines. Probably like my 4th or 5th recording, and I'm probably like my 8th or 9th cast in general. So still a lot of practice to come around. I'm not really generally oriented around speech, but I just love Dota, and I feel I might be able to bring some stuff to the field. Chaos Knight does get picked up, Nature's Prophet does get banned out. I'm curious if EG is going to go for like a Milk likes to play Venomancer, but also Chen and Enchantress are an option on a couple of players. So we'll see exactly what they decide to go with in a very short time period. But that Chaos Knight, just going into him real quick, he's very RNG based hero, randomly generated numbers. Is pretty much you do a coin toss every time he casts a spell as far as how effective it's going to be. Even at rank 1, it's going to be varying from 1 to 2 seconds, and from almost no damage to a good chunk of damage. He has actually the highest damage potential in the game, and that can make him very destructive, but it really comes down to a little bit of luck and a lot of precision on when you're going to use him. So he does pick up the Chen, and his second pickup, I'm curious to see, maybe a mid. Nope, he's going for the Earthshaker, so they want to control their lanes. What they could do definitely is an Earthshaker, a laning bottom with a carry, and Chen kind of do a pseudo tri-lane supporting and ganking. Now the Ancient Apparition is a very common pickup with the Chaos Knight. What they do together is pretty much if he lands a long duration stun, AA puts a Cold Feet on them, and they're going to be stuck in that Cold Feet, and it's just going to be an amazingly exorbitant amount of CC, and it's very difficult to deal with in lane. So they might go like for a dual mid type situation with a Windrunner on top, or they could do, I mean, obviously a lot of different things. We'll see how it shapes up, but right now both teams are looking at a pretty good lineup. They're picking up the Tinker early. I've seen EG run Tinker plenty of times, a couple of different people playing it on their team, but overall they do like the Tinker pickup. They do think that he adds a lot to their composition, where he has the mobility. Once he gets those boots of travel, he has very powerful nukes, and he just scales really well with items, as well as being able to push and split push and be all over the map. So a lot of versatility with that hero, but honestly I usually see him as a 4th or 5th pick, more commonly a 5th pick. So I'm not sure if they were worried he was going to get banned out or what exactly, but they did pick up a Tinker as their 3rd pick. He could do a solo mid. They won't run him as a suicide, but they might run him as a solo mid, or they might run him in the tri lane as their farm dependent carry and try to get him like an 8-minute boots of travel, soul ring kind of thing. And bands coming out, Enigma and Shadow Demon. Nothing too fancy about those. It's just heroes that they don't want to really deal with. I really don't think the Shadow Demon ban was really necessary, seeing as they have the Chen, and I really don't see Shadow Demon working out very well in a lane with the Chen, unless you're... But the one thing is, you do have the Earthshaker, and Earthshaker Shadow Demon is a really nice combo. You can disrupt somebody just for long enough so that you can set up an amazing Fissure, block them out where they're going absolutely nowhere, so that can be destructive. And that's probably what they're not looking at for, because they're EG. But anyways, they didn't want the Haz Asian team to pick up the Shadow Demon. Anywho, they got the Chen, they don't want to have to deal with Enchantress counterpick, that kind of stuff. So, along those lines, yeah, like I said, the CK-AA combo, I mean, they can self-sustain just a dual lane pretty effectively. Whether they wanted to go with a jungler or not, they don't really have much option anymore with Nature Prophet, Enigma, and Enchantress all off the board. I mean, there's still some that can work, but overall they're probably going to be looking for just lane superiority, and that's where Crystal Maiden comes in. She's got the Nova, very long duration, so she can get a lot of extra auto attacks in, and also a lot of control with her W if you're up against a Blink hero like Queen of Pain. Not likely since they've got the Tinker, but it's just different stuff. I'm surprised I haven't really done any counterpick for Tinker. I don't know if they think Crystal Maiden is a Tinker counterpick, and I just don't know it, but it's definitely somebody that you want to shut down. Her Frostbite can stop Boots of Travel. Maybe that's something, I don't know. But overall, yeah, that's something where you keep on picking. If you keep on picking up squishy heroes, those rockets will just eat you alive from the Tinker. And another friend of Tinker gets picked up, and that's Clockwork. They both love the same race or whatever, and the same mechanical implications, but Clockwork is a hero that you don't see picked up commonly whatsoever. He's not considered a top tier pick. Was very common maybe a year ago in the metagame, but right now he's kind of fallen by the wayside to many other strength initiators and things along those lines. But he's a very good long range initiator. He's got rockets to give long range vision. He's got a hookshot ultimate so that he can grapple in and jump right into the action as long as he can skill shot it properly. And there is a couple of players on EG that do really well with those kinds of skill shots. And I'm looking forward to see what they can really do with them. But he really is good at shutting down certain heroes where he can lock them in. I wouldn't say Chaos Knight is one of them, but a lot of the supports that Haz Asian has picked up can be really shut down by Clockwork if he can ulti in on them or just get close enough, get those cogs and get his assault battery up. They're kind of trapped. There's really nothing they can do about it. He kind of has the same function as Nature Prophet's Sprout, which more people are familiar with his cogs, but he has to be a lot closer in order to get it accomplished. So we'll see if Clockwork ends up going for mid or suicide. It's definitely going to be one of the two ways that they run him, and he can thrive in both environments, really. He can do long range locket. Ooh, okay, we got a Storm Spirit pickup. That's going to be a lot of long range initiation for Haz Asian. He's going to be running in a solo lane. Or he could do bottle jungle, but I don't think that's extremely likely, considering what they got. They could do like a Crystal Maiden AA CK tri lane and Storm Spirit mid and Windrunner top. That's probably the most common build I would see. The one thing is it doesn't have that much push. Generally speaking, European style generally tries to get a tower down within the first 6 minutes, or shortly after that. And right now their lineup doesn't really allot for that. I mean, the Phantasm's really good for tanking tower once CK gets level 6, but until that point in time, it looks like they're kind of going for a more gank-oriented strategy. They got a ton of disable with CK, AA stuns, Windrunner Shackle, Crystal Maiden's Control, and then Storm Spirit does have a Vortex stun of himself. And Lone Druid is a really, really odd pickup for this. He can do any lane, technically. His Baird gives him a lot of control, and effectively makes him 2 heroes, getting the experience for 1. But it's gonna be weird how he just decides to lane that if they try to do him solo. Really, they got a lot of potential for what they decide to do, but Lone Druid could be going in any one of the solo lanes. I don't expect him to see him in the jungle, because obviously Chen takes care of that domain pretty effectively. Not too many items being bought out just yet, and the pause is going off. So, shout out to Whack to Wax. Don't know him, but there you go. But right now, okay, quick on pause, but yeah, what you're looking at is definitely the Earthshaker is going to be trying to support the tanker, make sure that he gets the early farm. Lone Druid does not need that coverage, and Clockwork is just good all by himself. He does pick up the flare, he's going to scout out, use that rocket to see if he can check out what's going on over here. As far as pulling up the item board again, nothing too interesting coming up, just kind of standard regeneration and branches that I can see. Just a couple smokes coming off for early mobility and early, ganks and things along those lines. But 3 tangos on Windrunner. She's going to do pretty well situated in the top lane there, which is looking more and more like the tri-lane that I was talking about. Bulba on the Tinker, you got Milk on the Chen, of course, and then you got Universe playing the Earthshaker, and he can do some mean fishers. He really can. He has a lot of potential. If he gets, if he sees that opportunity, he's going to go for it. And even with a careful Windrunner player, Cordesia probably is going to be playing that way with a triple tango and Windrun first. She definitely knows that she's at a high risk in this pseudo tri-lane environment, but even with that, playing as carefully as she can, it's going to be difficult to avoid the effectiveness of that fisher. So it's going to be something you look out for. Like I was saying, CKAA tri-lane had a good potential, but they're actually going to be running Storm Spirit solo, or I guess dual bottom with Crystal Maiden, where Crystal Maiden might roam mid a little bit as well. But like I said, AA and CK can self-sustain extremely well in lane with their stun. The Chaos Bolt has a really high chance to, well, has an increasingly high chance to stun for a maximum duration of 3 or 4 seconds, and after rank 2, and that can set up Cold Feet perfectly. Nice ward coverage in the middle lane, making sure that whoever is going mid, probably Clockwork, against those two, is going to be sustained well enough to know what's going on and be able to deal with it. And although this is a very destructive tri-lane, and technically Clockwork doesn't have any mobile escapes, he still is a very beefy hero in general. He has the Staff Shield picked up, he has almost 650 health, and what he's looking at there is, even when he's chain disabled, he still has a decent chance of escaping. However, it's going to be very, very difficult on his regeneration items and how much it's costing him every time he goes forward. Bear is attempting to do kind of a blocking strategy. I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to do with this. I haven't played Lone. I play Lone Druid a little bit, but I don't know his intense pro level strategy. So whether he's pulling camps to neutrals or whatever, I'm not exactly sure. He just wants to make sure the creep wave is not disrupted or something along those lines. So we'll see exactly what he's doing in a very short time period. But right now you've got the semi-pull with the Crystal Maiden while Storm Spirit tries to control the lane. And pretty much what he's doing, I guess, is effectively putting the creeps on the tower and pulling the engagement to this location here. And that way he has control of where the lane is positioned with only a cost of a little bit of HP to his bear, and that'll be more effective in him being able to farm up. And Fear knows that that's very important for him to get some early farm and unleash the potential of the Lone Druid there, get a Radiance or something along those lines. So yeah, the lane is at this point pushed up to this point here rather than down where you'd like it much closer to your tower. So it is technically very gankable, and it's also just in a place where Lone Druid can actually do something about it, whereas Crystal Maiden, she doesn't have a warded, there's no ward blocking this spawn, so she can stack and pull as much as she wants, but right now she's doing a regular pull. She's going to eat a tree, and she's going to try to do a double pull as fast as possible. I'm wondering if she can get it off or not, but we'll see. Windrunner actually pushed up very, very aggressively in this area. I would say she's very vulnerable, but I guess in this case both sides don't have their pulls warded. They're using their wards for room control and general vision in the middle lane area. And so really what it's going to be is a big game of experience denial. What he's doing is he's stacking these creep camps. They spawn at the end of the minute, and he just gets a big clump of creeps that can destroy the creep wave and make sure that the enemy doesn't get the experience from it. Fear's trying to kind of negate that fact a little bit by taking out some neutrals of his own, but it's kind of ironic because Lone Druid is very commonly played as a jungle hero in the first place with the tank ability of the bear. But overall, it's just kind of a little bit of back and forth. Nobody's playing too aggressively at the moment. When CK hits level 3, which he just has, he does have a lot more potential, and he does have that bottle for sustained mana regeneration. So he's going to want to try to put some pressure out on Demon in the middle lane. Even though Clockwork's not the ideal hero to go on, he at least has... They just have so much CC and disable from this lane comparison that it won't really matter. At least that's the idea. As far as the longer the game progresses, I'd say honestly these teams are almost evenly matched. Lone Druid has a bit more endgame potential with the fact that he has up to 12 item slots. Oh, they're chasing him down actually. He did get a little bit out of position there, which he's still got plenty of regeneration, so it's not the biggest deal in the world, and they don't have too much to shut him down with the Crystal Maiden only having 100 mana, and she's going to lose a Claret if she's not careful. The bear is close enough to Druid to do an auto attack if he just comes out into this area over here, but it's just kind of how it's manipulated there. Earthshaker's still level 1, about to hit level 2 from these neutrals, but mostly he's just focusing on denying. He actually had a 2.5 stacks of neutrals at one point, which just demolishes the creep waves and makes sure that 0% of that experience is going to the Windrunner. So you can see this Windrunner, although she's in a solo lane, she's only level 3, working on her level 4, whereas, okay, there's the Fisher out of position. She is in not the best spot. She does power shot through, so she does clear some trees out, but she's just overall blocked, and nice positioning from the Earthshaker. She has to pop Windrun, that's dropped her down to 150 mana, and she's going to get out, but she's already consumed a third of her tangos, and it's going to be harder and harder for her to stay alive in this lane. Chen, not going for really too high mobility gank. He's mostly just focusing on getting the farm up. He knows he can't add too much extra to this Windrunner, focusing down this Windrunner. Nice Fisher again. Does it block her off here? She can get through that spot there, so just a little bit off on the Fisher. If he had been a little bit closer, then that would have been a lot more destructive. But even so, Tinker's just happy. He's got a soul ring. He can pretty much spam his rockets on her whenever she wants. He's probably waiting for level 5 so he can do a rank 3 rocket, which is just that much more effective per mana. But overall, cool Warrior Dog Courier already flying up. Give him the bottle, perhaps. Yeah, bottle to Clockwork, and he's able to spam. He can go into Rockets build. He's already got rank 2, about to get rank 3, and that's just allowing him to CS at a very long range. He's able to get those last hits. Generally, his rank 3 rockets are going to do more than an auto attack for a deny with 160, and the creeps don't have magic armor, so yeah. But AA picks up, I guess, just some regen, but he's able to do some long range harass with that as well, and so he does get a salve. That's cool. And Lone Druid is pushed up on the tower again, which it seems bad, but honestly that's exactly where he wants to be. He wants to be able to be in experience range. This Windrunner forced out a lane over and over and over. This Lone Druid, he's able to control where the lane is located at. Very good at microing these two heroes, the bear and the hero itself, and is able to kind of control where everything's going and make sure that he gets the experience. So he's level 5, whereas Windrunner is, you know, not even 4.5. And so just that little bit of experience does kind of steamroll in that direction, give him more potential. And then and Chen's able to free farm happily. Since they have that jungle, what they are able to do is split experience gain substantially, to the point that, real quick, there's just a little bit of harass going on. Real quick, you can see they are doing a Vortex, they are doing a Frostbite, and they're going to try to go for him. He's a very mobile hero in general, but he pops the salve, but the last auto attack is going to do it. And Crystal Maiden does enough damage, and the Overlord procs on every single spellcast is going to do enough. Also, Storm Spirit just hit level 6, so he possibly could have ulted if he was 6 at the time. Universe does transition bottom and almost catches out the Crystal Maiden, but she just popped a salve and she gets 10 HP more. Universe was so close to getting a free kill right off the bat just for an smoked up Fisher. Perfect prediction, perfect lineup, and that's really good predict, but unfortunately she had just salved just like maybe milliseconds before, and that stopped him from netting the kill. At this point, Storm Spirit's got his Arcane Boots. He's probably going to be working on Bloodstone and disassembling that in the future. But right now, he's just happy to farm up and make sure that he has sustained mana to do what he needs to against this Lone Druid here. Windrunner's doing a lot better comparatively at this point. And, yeah, Earthshaker has to roam to support the Lone Druid because while Tinker is all set up and raring to go, this Lone Druid definitely needs some help to get on his feet with farm and things along those lines. Now they are stacking Ancients at this point. That's going to be for the Tinker, maxing his Marks from Machines. Marks from Machines does do, although it says magical damage, it is able to damage the Ancients for some reason. Not sure the mechanic, but he does do damage to the Ancients once he gets rank 4 March. Okay, got some gank action, got a Shackle that does go wide, but a 4 full second stun on Chaos Knight. That's going to be dead, Bulba. There's just nothing you can do when you get a 4 stun proc on this. It's on Chaos Bolt, rank 3, it can be a 1, 2, 3, or 4 second stun, so pretty much only 25% chance of that happening that badly for him, but that's the merits of playing Chaos Knight, is you play the cards and you can occasionally luck out like that. So that was very, very positive for them. They're up to 2-0 versus EG right now, so that kind of puts EG in a little bit on the back foot, but At the same time, they're okay with a little bit of losses early because they do have much more late game oriented heroes. CK, he's kind of a ganker carry, so he's not super scale. I mean, he scales decently with his crit and his illusions, but he's not the hardest carry in the game. Storm Spirit, similar deal. He gets a lot of mobility from items, and a lot of utility with his overload, just jumping around all over the fight. But overall, as far as item scalability, Tinker getting a Sheep Stick and a Shivas and whatever else he wants to add to that is going to be much more effective, and Lone Druid has a lot more potential with Good Farm as well. Fortunately, Good Farm is what he seems to be lacking a little bit. He's not even got the phase boost on his bear, which is something that's really key to get that mobility and keep that auto attack, harass, and CS up. So he's playing defensively. He's in bear stance, which does give him bonus armor and health, and he's kind of trying to stay, but even so, Stormstorm is going all the way across with his ball lightning, gets the vortex off, which allows the frostbite to be set up right here. But he is so tanky right now. He has so much health, and with that Chen ulti, they have to TP out before he gets destroyed. Oh man, that sucks. The hookshot went to hit Stormstorm, and I believe it hit up on that Centaur, which is really unfortunate because he could have stopped the TP and gotten an easy kill on Stormstorm at that point. But even Crystal Maiden did make it out with her own, not teleport, because it would be uncool then. I'm not sure exactly what happened with her, but she was able to make it back to base. Even so, the Lone Druid survives, and that's kind of what's important, is stopping those dives and being able to do something to counteract that. Chaos Knight actually out of mana at this point. Needs to definitely find this next rune at the 10-minute spawn and be able to control that, because Clockwork, I'm guessing Clockwork's been doing alright with that. Not sure if it says, yeah, Chaos Knight's got an illusion rune, and Chris Main got a haste rune, so that's kind of cut out on his bottle farm a little bit. But a lot of push coming in from top lane, with Mail coming in with the Wildkin, pretty much just is able to harass enemies off the tower if he needs to, but really he's facing no enemies right now. Now they're grouping up with Crystal Maiden and the Windrunner to defend the top lane, but the fact that it's taken 3/4 of his health already in damage, that's pretty substantial. So yeah, at this point, Chaos Knight does get that 10-minute rune spawn on top lane. It's or top spawn. It's the double damage AA ulti coming out towards bottom lane. Lone Druid just kind of chilling out, going to take a little bit of harass damage, but I don't think Stormstorm is going to use that as an opportunity to go on anybody. It does a lot of damage, and it does shatter him if he drops below 10% HP, but it's not going to be something that Storm Spirit could just do on tower all by himself. Chaos Knight picking up, working towards his drum. He's going to get that pretty quickly, and that's going to be very effective, going for the 4/4 standard build to make sure that his Q and W are as effective as they can be for the mana. And Milk just kind of covering Clockwork in mid, seeing as he does have that double damage rune. He can be very destructive if he lands a very long duration stun on the Clockwork. Taking out those branches, big plays right there, making sure that those branches are never going to be used again. Not really that big. Anyways, Windrunner actually did take out Tinker. The Chen ulti was just a little bit short, and they did get a kill on him, a gank, I'm guessing starting with a Nova into a Frostbite, AA, and Shackle. And that'll take him down real quick. So he just got triple gank there, kind of straight from the tower. He was pushing a little bit too far. If you see, the tower did drop down a little bit, but sorry I missed that. Alright. At this point, like I was trying to say before, with the fact that they had the Chen free farming in the jungle pretty much, you're going to be seeing a huge EXP advantage one way or another, but the fact that it was the case down earlier about the 5.5 minute mark, but now that they've gotten 4 full kills, the XP definitely is tending towards the Radiant at this point in time. Then the gold, because of the lane control that they've had on bottom lane, and the fact that Windrunner wasn't too terribly negated. In fact, if you look at the CS, you're looking at 29 on Windrunner, whereas there's 42 on Lone Druid. So where the gold really comes into play is the middle lane going Chaos Knight 69, and A even got 7 compared to the Clockwork's 36. But yeah, nice stack pull from the Earthshaker, but they're seeing that the lane is a little bit out of funk, and just as far as where it's supposed to be at right now, it's pulling past the tower. So they were looking at a possible gank on Earthshaker, but they're going to go on Tinker, 2 seconds stun with a double damage, and he's just going to drop out really, really quickly. So good pull. it didn't even have to reality rift very far as long as he got on top of them. That's all I needed to do, especially with that drum. Very destructive there. And yeah. So Tinker is not in the best spot right now. He had his soul ring and he was very close to Boots of Travels going on Earthshaker at this point. He does get a nice Fisher off, which blocks him off, and they're not able to get too much. The Nova misses, and even with AA's ulti, it's not going to really address too much there. So, but yeah, like I was saying, Tinker was really close to his Boots of Travel, which allows him to farm so much extensively more. He's able to be really mobile and really just be able to jump everywhere and do anything that he needs to. When this Tinker hits level 9, he's going to pick up rank 1 rearm, and at that point, he's going to want to do something about the stack creep. I've got some action going on bottom. The Storm Spirit just kind of getting out of an entangle, getting out of a situation where he doesn't want to take too much harass damage. But yeah, these creeps keep on. Nope, they're going on the Lone Druid with the Ancient Apparition. He does get the Vortex, and he does get the Cold Feet. The Cold Feet will stun, and that's a lot of damage, but the Chen ulti again, saving it for that Lone Druid, and he should be alright. And he does actually, with the rocket, does a lot of damage to the AA. If only he had a Entangle proc, but he was not able to proc the Entangle, just a random chance there. And for that reason, he AA was able to get out, pop an ulti on him, and finish off the Lone Druid. He gets frostbitten, and the hookshot misses because he's hitting a creep right next to him, and the Storm Spirit is going to get out. Now they got 3 bottom, and everybody else is nowhere near, so they actually could push this if they do want. Grisman's a little bit low on mana, but overall you don't need that when you got the aggression of the Chaos Knight being able to come into play there. So this catapult will survive this next creep wave, and as creep wave comes up, they can look to push if they want to. Whereas Clockwork's bottling the illusion rune and just covering a different lane. They are however, they do have a lot of push going on top lane, covering that. Storm Spirit coming in, trying to get some damage on Milk, and he's all caught up by himself, and he's going nowhere fast. So he should drop in just a second with that last ultimate from Storm Spirit. And Fisher could have come, but was coming a little bit too late, and was not going to be able to help him. So we got some more damage on middle lane. Honestly, surprised they didn't push this tower, seeing as everybody was on the top lane. Now, EG kind of has a lot more map control. They put wards up across this top lane. Well, that one's about to expire, but just for gank potential, and the fact that this tier 1 tower is no longer here. And they put some damage into tier 1 mid as well. However, as far as kills, so that's helpful as far as getting 1 tower, but that's nothing compared to the amount of kills that we Haz Asians has been putting out towards the Dire team. 8-0, that's just ridiculous amount of a kill advantage this early in the game. 15.5 minutes in, you're looking at 8 straight kills without losing a single hero. That's just steamrolling the gold advantage in your direction, and they can lose a tower or 2 for that, absolutely, and they get all the benefit from it. And that's what they need to be doing. They have a very, very high pressure gank team with a large amount of disable, and they need to line it up where they just get 2 or 3 people to jump on one person by themselves and get those easy kills, and that's what they've been doing, taking advantage of that, and it's been very effective for them so far. So actually, Storm Spirit getting very close to a very early Bloodstone. He's got the point booster, the energy booster, and the perseverance. All he needs is that 1100 gold vitality, and he's got it. Then he can opt for treads or whatever he wants to do with that. But Lone Druid meeting up with him again, this time on the top lane, and trying to make sure this tower is covered or denied at the very least. So he's coming in. We're probably going to see TP support if the tower does drop below 130. But right now they're just kind of doing a little bit 1v1 action, as they have been all game. And Tangle proc, he's going to have to ulti out of that, and I believe I guess the Tangle stays on him, but he's able to cast and still move into a safer location. So I got the Wildkin, able to do plenty of harass with that Tornado if he does opt for it, but right now they just got the armor going, and they have a lot of damage and pressure going on mid. The long-range Fisher and the Assault Battery is going to easily take him down with a rocket from Tinker. Yeah. Now AA ulti did come out, Storm Spirit's jumping in, and Chen ulti goes off. Chaos Knight pulls Milk in a bad position, but overall nobody's dropped yet. Chen pulls somebody back, and Crystal Maiden's the only kill. But at this point, Demon's just trying to get out of there. Reality Rift on him is going to finish him off, so he was the only one that was kind of caught out of dodge there. Tinker does come back in with his Boots of Travel, and he does get some rocket damage, but Storm Spirit's going to jump out. Rearm not up just yet. Now he's doing it, and he's going to try for some more long-range damage, but overall, it feels like most of it should have already happened. Most of the team fights happened there at that point, so they did go for 1-for-1, and that's kind of what they needed for the fact that they need to kind of put some kills on the board at this point. That's just what they need to do. So they picked off Crystal Maiden, but they did lose their Clockwork. and Storm Spirit finishes that Bloodstone, and that's going to give them a lot of staple mana regeneration, health, everything they needs. So that's going to give them a lot of tankability and mobility in team fights, and that's what that much mana that he had allowed him to long range initiate, and he's going to get more and more out of that. I'm curious if he's going to go for a BKB next to stop all the damage and potential sheeps from Tinker and Fishers and things along those lines, or what he's going to opt for, but we'll see in not too long. Phase Boots on the Lone Druid and Orb of Venom on the Bear. Not sure if he's going to be looking for a pipe or something like that to go up against the Storm Spirit, damage, AA, ulti, all that kind of good stuff. But overall, they need to kind of have a battle plan of if they're going to try to keep pushing or just kind of ward up and make sure they're not getting ganked too heavily. RMC just kind of covering the top lane. While they're doing a lot of damage to middle tower, the Bear does do bonus damage, demolish to nice shackle onto the Tinker. Storm Spirit comes in and vortexes with AA ulti on him, and he's going to pop off really quickly. Yeah, he was just trying to do a little bit of harass damage on the tower, but Tinker caught out in a bad position, and the shackle on the Bear, nice shackle from Gredasia, made sure that he was going absolutely nowhere. Rank 4, running a 3.75 second stun duration, just extremely powerful. And she's already farmed up her mech despite being in the suicide lane, so Gredasia's been playing very effectively on that solo lane Windrunner. And amazing shackle there to set up a easy kill on Tinker. Tinker's kind of feeling the heat at this point. He's looking at 1-4, and Storm Spirit making sure that nobody's covering this tower for denies. The Chen does deny bottom tower from the Chaos Knight. He's got to be not too happy about that. Unicorn. Funny name for a guy running the horse around. All dark and damaging. But, yeah. Alright, so at this point, Chen is about 200 some away from his mech, whereas Gredasia's already finished it and got her phase boots there. As far as items go, definitely it seems like the gold advantage is definitely showing itself for Haz Asians. The fact that they've got so many kills in 20 minutes, we're just able to pressure 2 towers, even if one was denied, and they really have the items comparatively speaking. Chaos Knight's working on his armlet, but he already has his drums. Christian Maiden has enough sustainability to not get nuked down immediately. They do have a smoke game going on for RMC, though. The Bear does not see it because he cannot pull the smoke, but Windrunner is visible because I'm not actually sure why she was visible if she just didn't get the smoke in the first place. But these two, right now, still have smoke coming in, and Tinker's jumping on these boots travel on the Bear, which might put him in a bad spot if they do catch him out. I'm not sure if they saw him at nighttime, then vision is pretty poor, but if they were able to get a frostbite on him right there into a cold feet, that would have been extremely destructive. 2 wards right on top of each other, actually placed within seconds of each other, it seems. Yeah, 5:45. Yeah, about 20 seconds apart, and at the exact same place. So they got that area well covered, and both teams kind of think that that's going to be where most of the action is going to be happening, since this is the last tier 1 tower for the Dire team, EG. Alright, so bottom lane getting gradually pushed in by the Bloodstone Storm Spirit. Don't know why I call it Bloodstone, but whatever. And whereas Armlet has just finished on the Chaos Knight from that last skirmish, getting enough gold from that. So Bulba he's got his Force Staff, which gives him even more mobility. Not only can he jump from lane to lane really quickly, but he can also jet himself forward, give him a really quick boost to get a good laser off or something along those lines, or get him out of a antsy situation. So Storm Spirit kind of keeping himself obscure, keeping himself, they don't know exactly what he's doing, and Tinker still hasn't touched these Ancients. I don't know if they forgot to mention that they stacked the Ancients so much for him or what, but they've got all these creeps on it and he hasn't really done much with it. They have the neutral that's been doing it from Chen, and Melk should really kind of communicate with Bulba, hey, you need to be doing this pretty soon, because otherwise you're not getting enough benefit from all that potential farm. ALT going on Earthshaker just farming by himself, and he's going to have to get out of there before he takes too much damage. Windrunner and Crystal Maiden wanted to do something about it, but just their positioning was not appropriate, especially with that Fisher. Do have a long-range initiation from Storm Spirit, but he's not able to get a stun off, and they're going to have to pull back and just opt for trying to push down the tower while Earthshaker is trying to heal up. He does have a TP, plenty for TP if he does want to opt for that, and jump in to defend this. They do not have Fortify up at this time. More the marksman machines can be very effective as well. I'm not sure where they're jumping around to. If he's just trying to use the massive mana regen than he has. He has 14 mana regen per second, so that's substantial. And yeah. At this point, the one thing that they have to worry about is the fact that a couple of the heroes kind of taper off pretty quickly. I mean, with good items, Clockwork is effective, but right now all he's got is a point booster. So really, Chen and Clockwork are not very effective, and until Earthshaker finishes off his Blink Dagger in about 600 gold, he's gonna need to. He's not as effective as he could be either. So really, at this point in time, what they need is gold. What they need is items if EG is gonna stay in this game, because they are already down 9 kills, obviously. I mean, they should really know that they have vision on this, seeing as the AA ulti came in, and that could easily kill the bear and be a little bit frustrating on that cooldown. Because bear, although killing it doesn't really affect the hero other than losing a chunk of health, he does have to resummon it, and that's a 2-minute cooldown. So if you kill a bear and the cooldown's off, Lone Druid is substantially less effective in any way, shape, or form, farming or fighting. So that's it's almost like killing a hero for 2 minutes if you're able to kill his bear and get it on cooldown and then kill it again. But he just popped up a new one with his summon, and he's trying to do some aggression on Storm Spirit. Entangle does a bit of damage, but he's going to actually go aggressively and just farm up these creeps because he's just able to. They do have Invis on Ancient Apparition, and they're just covering Bulbul while he does farm these Ancients finally. So he's going to get a bit of farm from that. I'm not sure if he's going to be looking for a Scythe Device or what, but it is going to help out his GPM considerably because it was up to this point a little bit lacking with that top lane covered so well by the enemy team. So yeah, if you're looking at 370 GPM on the Tinker, which is not even better than the Chaos Knight who had a dual lane, 382 on the Storm Spirit. So Tinker is really the only one with much farm. I mean, Lone Druid's got 305, which is alright, but it needs to be doing better if they're going to be able to get past this. Storm Spirit got the Mystic Staff, going for either Scythe or Shiva's, probably Scythe, just because it's a really good item on him with the mana regeneration and the disable as well. Because Tinker's not probably going to be opted for BKB. Long range initiation on the Storm Spirit to the Lone Druid, but he does finish that TP scroll just in time. Literally, if he had even half a second longer on that TP scroll, the Vortex would come off, and that would have been a dead Lone Druid. AA is ulting mid. They're trying to cover that, where it is deniable at this point in time. Nice shackle onto the bear, it goes onto the creeps, and Maelk is AA ulted. He can pop his ultimate, but it's not going to help him out. But at that point, nice stun, and nothing. Echo Slam coming out as well. If they do a long range Fisher, he is really low at this point. He does have his armlet. He's only on armlet health at this point, and he's toggling as much as he can to sustain. But that was overall. They got the tower to kill from Lone Druid. And the Clockwork long range initiation, not where that's at. Onto the Ancient Apparition all by himself. Invis no longer on him, and good initiation from Demon, picking him off real quick. So that does get another kill for them as well. So what you're looking at there, the Ancient Apparition ulti does stop any healing effects. So Chen's ultimate wouldn't have been very effective on 2 heroes in the bear. I don't know, actually, it doesn't need. It might heal the bear. I don't know. It's all allied heroes, only under Chen's control, so it would not help the bear at all, which doesn't really matter too much either way. But the healing effect would have been diminished on 2 heroes, and that's something you got to watch out for, because he does have Mechanism, he does have the Hand of God, and that's a very large chunk of health. You're looking at a 300 heal plus a 250 heal, so that's half your health right there that you cannot regenerate. Long range initiation from Storm Spirit catches him off with the ward, and is pretty much going to solo kill him. Storm Spirit helps, Windrunner helps out a little bit, but Earthshaker gets picked off. So they warded on top of each other once again, but Storm Spirit took advantage of that really, really quickly. And the Ancients are taken out at this point, so there's limited potential for farm on EG. But yeah, Chaos Knight needs to keep on pushing. He's generally a good pusher carry with those Phantasms, especially when he pops Armlet before he does the Phantasms. What that enables him to do is pretty much just have that extra strength bonus permanently on the illusions, because it's whatever your stats you were when you created the illusions. So they got Dire bottom tower, and they're going to just transition to maybe a gank on Lone Druid or something like that. Storm Spirit's kind of the mobile guy that's making things happen, starting the plays off. Fada playing that role very well, and just kind of causing frustration. However, Radiance does show up on the Lone Druid. It's a little delayed with the fact that Maybe he got around the 26-minute mark, but he finally does have it, and that's what's important. So as long as Lone Druid can get a little bit of survivability of himself beyond just his ultimate, that radiance can be more and more effective. And even as we speak, it's harassing down Stormspirit pretty effectively. It's not going to be able to get him a kill, but it's going to force him to go ulti back to base and ulti back out. Bulba, working on Sheepstick. He's got his, or Lincoln's, but he's probably going for the Scythe of Ice with his ultimate orb there. And he's got 2 smoked buddies covering him, so what they're hoping is that they can bait it a little bit with Tinker as if he's solo pushing bottom, and then they got 4 heroes covering support with 3 really good initiation neutral creeps, starting with the Warlord and going from there. So here is the gank session coming in, and they're hoping to do a free kill, but really what they're going to do is catch out that Crystal Maiden, Fisher, and Clockwork's hook shot, but she does get forced out by the Windrunner, and there's a really nice Blink Dagger initiation by the Earthshaker, and Stormspirit comes flying across trying to pick up Universe. He is able to do it. Bulba gets shackled to Fear, and Windrunner comes off to Power Shot and take out them really quickly. Milk is under a lot of pressure with the Reality Rift of the Illusions, and he's going to drop as well. Tinker Rock is flying out, and he's trying to do as much as he can. That he does dodge that shackle with the Force Staff, and at this point Stormspirit is out of mana, so if he can get out of this Cold Feet, he actually is going to be alright. Still doing more and more rearm, more and more rockets. Nice micro by Milk, able to get the Ursa stun, or the Ursa slow clap and the Centaur stun on those 2 heroes simultaneously, and setting up a double kill for the Tinker. Really nice play there by Milk, and that allows them to push the bottom tower. This is something really needed. It's not the hugest gain, but even trading kills like that, as effectively as they have, makes a huge difference. And Bulba jumps right back into it. Booster travels back to base, rearms in base, and Booster travels to the bear. So this has allowed them to take the bottom tower, and that's exactly what they needed to get done in order to put themselves back in this game. A lot of damage coming out on the Crystal Maiden with the Clockwork hook shot's going to finish her off. Fear is getting pulled in. Doesn't have much left. Chen ulti on cooldown, but Stormspirit actually has to watch his life now, and Windrunner gets taken down as well. They wanted to just take a quick free kill, but with an Ancient Apparition ulti going wide, they actually just took considerable losses. Crystal Maiden and Windrunner unnecessarily dying for that cause there. So they were trying to do a little bit of damage and defend that tower, and there was just something they couldn't hold up against. They might not realize that Bulba was back with full health and mana, but that's just something you have to learn to watch out for with that much mobility. So yeah, RMC getting picked off, and Windrunner also not doing too hot against that much burst magic damage. That's going to allow him to work on Roshan. The bear's going to tank it, which causes minimal damage to the team overall, and they're going to be able to try to get that Aegis either on Tinker, most likely, or possibly on Fear, because he does have a Radiance on his bear. So, but overall, playing a lot better than they were. A lot of coordination, making sure that they know when to get out, when to move around and flank the fight. And killed by the Dire. Dire did still pick it up, and Stormspirit just sacrificed himself for a small attempt at nothing. He did try to Chaos the Roshan with his ultimate, and it would have been a good attempt, but he didn't get anything from that except for sacrificing himself. And even with the Bloodstone charges, he's still down for 30 seconds. So that puts him much more on the back foot. He only needed 875 more for that Sheepstick, and he's not going to get it for a decent amount of time now. Clockwork's still in the rank 2 ultimate, but he's been pulling off some mean hook shots no matter what, so that's really what he needs to do. It's an interesting pickup for this lineup. I'm trying to think of exactly what it adds to it. I mean, Clockwork adds some control as far as where things are. If he's able to hook shot somebody and then trap them into the cogs, kind of forces their team to protectively and instinctively move towards them to help them, which sets up an Earthshaker Blink Echo. And that hasn't exactly been seen other than just the general positioning control, but it's still, he does add a lot to the lineup. And good counter warding coming in from RMC, making sure they have the vision control. To double observer ward here, so if they were able to sentry that out, they'd realize that they have twice as much vision. No, they just have the same amount of vision. But anyways, looking at just some Fisher farming, trying to get as much gold as possible. I don't believe that EG's team has a drum yet, so that might be something that he's looking for. No, it did get picked up on Chen from Milk, and That's what he's opting for. Interesting pickup. The Milk actually opted for power treads. He's not really. Most Chens go for the arcane boots because it does help out your creeps as well. But he's very. Okay, we got an initiation from Storm Spirit, long range. Got a shackle from Windrunner. A ulti coming through, just debuffing, and the mech gets taken off. Chaos Knight finishes him off, but Storm Spirit gets the kill. And now they're just trying to take out his creeps as much as possible. Make sure they don't have to deal with that in the next fight. They're gonna let 2 of them go though. What I was saying was that a lot of people like to spam their spells, but that Milk generally considers them more of a precision thing, where he doesn't spam the neutral spells. He just occasionally does them right when they're in the perfect timing. That's what set up some kills in the bottom lane, and it makes him a really good player. But also, getting initiated on 4 people, it's kind of hard to do. That Storm Spirit, that's what he adds to the composition, but obviously is that he's able to jump in, he's able to zoom across the map and start things off, see some 1 or 2 people by themselves, and make sure that their team can capitalize on it with slows and stuns. So he's playing that role really well, and that's what so far has been netting them a lot of advantage in this game. However, it's been swinging both directions at this point. And really, one thing I'm noticing is that Chaos Knight did pick up his BKB along with his armlet, and that can give him a lot of presence if he's effective with it. Lone Druid's farm picking up, he is going for that pipe, and he does have a Hyperstone on the Spirit Bear as well, which gives him a lot of chances to do the entangle as well. Tinker, he needs to be a little bit more mobile. He's kind of playing very passively, very afraid. But Clockwork does get a nice initiation on the Storm Spirit, puts him in cogs, but he has plenty of mana. He just zooms right back out, and he should be perfectly fine. So they're just clearing the creeps down and trying to push for the tier 2 top. Storm Spirit did finish the scythe, though. At this point, I would say that if Chaos Knight times his Phantasm Armlet and his BKB effectively, he can wreak havoc in this fight, like, excessively, because the Sheep Stick on Bulba isn't going to be able to do much to him for that 10-second period, and it's going to be very difficult. But anyway, Storm Spirit coming for long-range initiation, does not really catch anybody. At this point, Chaos Knight's in there. He's doing exactly what I was saying, but he's all by himself. Ancient Apparition going in, ulti going off, but Earthshaker, Echo Slam, hits couple, and at this point, the only person being picked off right now is Bulba, who has an Aegis. So Tinker just got knocked out, but he's got a full another life, and they just lost 2 heroes for it. Now they're going to push 2 down. Oh, wow, the Clockwork ulti, catching the Windrunner in the cogs, gets lasered out, and Earthshaker finished it off with the Crystal Maiden. Wow, they thought they were getting out, just lost a couple. Unfortunate. No. EG makes sure they can capitalize on it. With that Clockwork adding so much long range to their initiation. Earthshaker doing the long range blinks, and they were able to pick off 2 more. Storm Spirit really the only one who can sustain against that with his mobility, the fact that he can ulti all over, as he's doing right now, just to kind of harass and try to keep them off the tower as much as possible. But okay, Ancient Apparition ulti. But really, Storm Spirit's the only one that can live in those encounters because he's the only one who's able to jump around and to stay mobile and be invulnerable during those times that he's ulting. So he is able to kill the bear, but at the same time, the fact of the matter is they just lost a considerable amount. Clockwork has his Aghanim Scepter at this point, just able to jump around to friend or foe, so it turns into a really great escape mechanism on a really short cooldown. And yeah, so pretty much what happened there was Chaos Knight, although he was really good with his Blink Dagger his BKB and his illusions going on the Reality Rift on, I believe, the Tinker. He was focusing somebody really hard, but he was all by himself. His team wasn't able to jump in there. There was too many heroes that he was jumping past, and so they kind of formed a full cluster around him. And what they were afraid of was the Earthshaker initiation with that Echo Slam, and so they were hesitant to come forward. That put a lot of damage into the Chaos Knight right off the bat. Storm Spirit, trying to catch somebody in the trees, was wasting a lot of time and mana, and Clockwork does get picked off by 3, so that's just with the Chaos Bolt's done, that kind of stuff. But Tinker does Blink Dagger, and he has Blink Dagger and Force Staff at this point. He's getting pulled out by Chen. But Chaos Knight's really low. Fear trying to do some damage to him, but he gets pulled in by the Vortex, and he's going to drop off too. So I'm not sure if they actually wanted Milk to pull Bulba out that soon. He still had a lot of damage that he could have done to even auto attack damage to the Chaos Knight to try and finish him off. But he did pull him out. He did inevitably save Tinker, who's able to just jump around and farm. But it did cost him a lone druid, which is, even with the pipe, it's just unfortunate that he got picked off all by himself. Now, I was going to... Oh, and BKB coming up on Earthshaker, so he's able to not only just jump in and Echo Slam, but actually able to stay in there after the fact with his magic immunity. When you think about it, like I said, there's a huge amount of disables on their team between every single hero, pretty much, but it's all magic-based. So BKB, not just on... well, it carries any hero that can benefit from the BKB should be picking it up on EG's team. Bulb farming up. But one thing I was noting about his item build, he's really going for a mobility-based Tinker right here. He can Force Staff and rearm that within 1 second. He can blink, rearm that within 1 second, boost to travel all over the map. He is literally the most mobile hero possible in this game. He can just literally be anywhere. I mean, I guess you could object to the fact that Storm Spirit can zoom across with his ball lightning as well, but I guess Bulb was kind of trying to play a counter to Storm Spirit. Wherever Storm Spirit jumps, Bulb wants to be there too. And with that Force Staff and that blink and the ability to reset them, he's able to do that. And they're really taking advantage of the fact that there's so many creeps in this team with the bear from Lone Druid and the summons from the controlled neutrals from Milk. And so that's allowing Tinker to jump wherever he wants to, farm wherever he wants to, and get a lot of that CS made up from that, I wouldn't say fail, but difficult early game. And now at this point, you notice that Haz Asians was up 9-1 at one point. Now they're only up 17-13. So a really good swing back in their direction if you want to look at the graphs. You're looking at, sorry, a quick crash there, but yeah, you're looking at, as far as the EXP graphs, Clockwork Farming obviously, but you're looking at the fact that Dire swung down a lot more, and although the team fights have been a little bit back and forth, they're at least close to an equal level in this game, which is what they want, because they have the end game heroes. As far as gold graph goes, it's even more been substantial in their favor with all these kills that they've gotten, and all the racks that they took on top lane. So they have a severe advantage in this game. Swung extremely well when they team fought in this position here, taking out the Chaos Knight and only losing the Tinker Aegis, and then being able to push racks. That's really what changed the game in their favor. And Roshan respawning in about a minute, less than that, maybe like, if I'm reading it right, it's probably actually closer to like 10 seconds. And they're going to be probably looking to do that and then push to win. And that's just because it's just so much closer to where they want to be with the unlimited Force Staff blink sheep stick type stuff, and the fact that Lone Druid actually has a pipe as well as maybe an Assault Cuirass is what he's working on now. But his Hyperstone, he already has the Hyperstone from the bear and the Radiance as well. So at this point, if they do pick up the Aegis and they are able to confront Roshan, they pretty well have this game in the bag. There's a lot that can happen between now and then, but really, they've definitely swung it around and definitely pulled much more in the direction they need to. Even though it's been 41 minutes and it seems like there's been very few kills, 17-13, the team fights that that EG has fought in and won have mattered absolutely. They've been really key ones. They pushed very hardcore after that. You look at the fact that although they've been on the back foot all game, they still have 2 tier 2 towers, whereas Haz Asians has 1 tier 2, and they're missing their top racks. So a lot more control and presence at this point on EG's team, and they've just been coordinating that really effectively. Earthshaker almost has his BKB. Not sure if he's going to want to prefer to stay for buyback or what specifically, but it's really they're kind of trying to stalemate right now on Roshan. They do have the Sentry Ward up for Haz Asians, and that will kind of make sure that they have ward coverage until Milk decides that needs to change. Shackle going on neutrals, just trying to stop. They were trying to stop the D ward, but enough damage coming out, and now they're actually putting themselves in a pretty bad position. EG just content to hold the position with the endless merchant machines, and rockets just kind of flying out over and over and over. And now Storm Spirit's going for a long range initiation, trying to go on to Tinker, but he blinks out. Clockwork going in, gets the cogs onto nobody, but Chaos Knight pops his BKB, and they're all trying to gauge on this. Clockwork's all by himself, and they pull Chen out. They pull Chen out with the Holy Persuasion. Pipe goes off, and they're looking to engage on this. They got a nice Echo Slam between two. Sheeped on BKB. Storm Spirit's jump around, but he's down to low mana. Crystal Maiden gets picked off by Lone Druid, and now Chaos Knight has popped in with Demon, and Demon is able to take down Chaos Knight. He buys back, and he's going to try to come in as fast as possible, but Windrunner just trying to hold him off, getting a shackle off, but at this point they're going to pull back, disengage, and the fact that they took off a buyback and they traded one hero for one otherwise is extremely effective. And now Chris Maiden's getting put on position. She is able to get a Force Staff, I believe, from Ancient Apparition, but just too much mobility, too much jump around with this Clockwork ultimate, and they both get caught off. Windrunner buys back, but they just domination from EG coming out. Nice plays, nice mobility. With the range from the rockets, from Clockwork and Tinker, and from the hook shots and everything along those lines, they just have so much mobility and so much long-range damage. And they can see somebody 1,000 units away and still do a lot to them compared to most team compositions. Lone Druid does pick up the Aegis at this point, making the most of the Radiance and the Assault Cuirass aura he's picking up. He does not need to save for buyback now that he has that Aegis, and he's able. That allows him to take up that Assault Cuirass and look to push mid. So we Haz Asians have to be not too happy about that. They lost the Roshan, they lost many heroes, they lost 2 buybacks, and their gold is costing them at this point. Tremendously going back, making sure that it's well situated in the realm of the Dire, having an immense advantage of over 7,000 gold, and it's really showing it. Earthshaker, BKB finally, and yeah. So Windrunner is looking for a Sheepstick, but she's a long way off, so it's probably just going to be sustained mana regen for her, and they really have to have an amazing team fight to be able to last against this at this point. I mean, Ancient Apparition's ultimates have been good, and they're very effective against Chen and his ultimate and his mech, but at this point, Chen is only 700 away from his Aghanims, and then his ultimate will be a very short cooldown, and they'll just be able to provide non-stop pressure. But right now what they're looking to do is just kind of group and push, and they're able to do it. Tinker, Tinker was actually, in my opinion, the best. What he did in that fight early on was he was able to do, just by spamming March and a rocket up in this area, was able to force the Storm Spirit out where he wanted to prevent Tinker from continuously doing that. But the fact that Tinker got the blink off and wasted so much of Storm Spirit's mana where he was trying to ball lightning all the way across the map to try to catch him off, that wasted almost all of, emptied almost all of Storm Spirit's bag of tricks, and he was able to rearm, jump back in, and start doing just amazing amounts of rocket damage to the enemy heroes. So pretty much when they had that ward coverage right here from the Dire, they were able to see everything going on in this area, and that's it allowed them to do just non-stop rocket, and just any kind of long-range initiation they needed to. And okay, we got a Clockwork initiation coming out, a Fisher going out, and Crystal Main gets picked off all by herself as Little Piglet. That little piggy's going to go home to the fountain to have to respawn in 40 seconds, which gives EG an amazing opportunity to jump in and push down these towers with this full Aegis, Assault Cuirass, Pipe, everything finished, everything going their way. Tinker will be back in a few seconds, and that's when they're going to try to end this. So, well played so far by EG, holding it together until this point in time where they were just able to gain that enough advantage to jump in and kind of push through to the killing blow. They got Pipe active. Double damage is on Chaos Knight, which is a tremendously scary thing, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Storm Spirit looking for, trying to pick somebody out, but they're all grouped together. They're ready to fight in any position with this Clockwork initiation and Earthshaker with the blink. So at this point, they're just doing some harass damage, march, and rockets with Tinker. He jumps right back up to Crepes and does it again. And so it's kind of something that's very difficult to not only to push against, but to defend a push with. But at this point, it doesn't seem like they're trying to force the issue on middle lane. Looks like Bulb is farming up and trying to pick up his next big item. Could be a Scotty, could be a Lincoln's, I don't know. Manta is also a decent pickup on him, because you can keep those illusions up. You don't reproduce illusions over and over, but you can always have 2 extra Tinkers up, along with your original. So he's just exhausting that mana pool quickly just to farm, and this is the time that WHA needs to do something. Storm Spirit comes out, gets a nice sheep on Earthshaker, so he's got nothing. BKB on Chaos Knight with Armlet. Universe gets pulled out by Chen, but Clockwork gets picked off. A little bit of misinitiation, and now Maelk's in a bad spot with that Reality Rift. Windrunner gets picked off, though, with the Lone Druid, triple kill, and with Tinker back in the action, mega kill, ultra kill from the Lone Druid. Just, and CK buys back. So at that point, Clockwork, I think he initiated a little bit early with the fact that Bulba had almost no mana and was just now porting back to Fountain. But the fact that Storm Spirit picked off the Earthshaker and forced him back to base was really good. But then there's just so much damage and pressure coming from the Lone Druid and the Tinker. Now there's damage on the Unicorn, and everybody else is just getting knocked out with creep disables, and Windrunner should be popping off in a minute, but she does pop their mech, and they're just going to be happy to take middle lane. So, yeah, they're trying to jump around and save it, but there's really nothing they can do at this point. They got 4 versus 4, but so much advantage going to EG. Now, Tinker might be able to pop off Maelk. He does get the pull on him. He's got enough for another ulti, and they are going to be able to get damage out on him because Tinker jumped back, and Lone Druid's out of there. But, correction, Lone Druid's in the action. He's trying to do some damage to Ancient Apparition with some rockets following suit as well. But he does need a little bit more radiance damage, and he's not going to get it because Storm Spirit's right back up in the fray. Buybacks all over, but they're just pretty much buying time at this point. They're trying to hold it. They really want to, but it's just, at this point, they've lost too much. They've bought back so many times. I mean, thousands upon thousands of gold put into buybacks, and it's only a matter of time before a good game gets called. So 5,600 gold on Fear from that ultra kill, and lulzy hook shots for no reason whatsoever. So they're having a good time at this fight. But the Aegis still didn't pop in that entire encounter. That's why Fear was being so aggressive, is because he's got a Mjolnir, and he still has his Aegis the entire time. Bulba jumping in against a low mana Storm Spirit. Clockwork ultis to Bulba, and then is able to get him in the cogs, sheeps him again, just rearm, and is able to do anything he wants, and that's going to be able to pick off the Storm Spirit. No buyback, 60 full seconds, even with rank 4 Bloodstone, which just keeps on losing stacks every time he comes into the fray, and mid push should be pretty easy. Sorry if that's disorienting. But they need to try to get Maelk up here, even though his ultimate, he's just been spamming on cooldown, and he's almost as effective in the Fountain. I don't know, that's not true. He adds a lot to the fights. He's been pulling a lot of people out effectively with Holy Persuasion. He still has mech, and he has a Strum Aura, so he doesn't, and Basilius Aura, so it's not that he doesn't add anything to the fights, it's just he's very effective in the Fountain as well. Earthshaker, that was an incredible Echo Slam. Jumping in with the Blink Dagger and hitting him about 8 creeps, plus the hero himself, bring him down to almost nothing, and Clockwork finishing him off. And now Ancient Apparition in a terrible spot, caught in the cogs, and he's going to get picked off too. It should be calling GG any second now. But well played by EG, taking this win, and it's just a best of 1 for the group stages of the defense. Probably should have introduced that, but overall, EG, very well played. Bided their time, didn't look like they were in that much of an advantage early game. Actually, being down 8-0 is kind of what we call a disadvantage, but they took it away, pulled it off to the end game, and that's all of it. So, good game, well played, and that's all she wrote. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been a BlazeCast presentation. I have a YouTube channel you're probably at, but if you don't know it, it's Blaze Casting. I'm going to be setting up some other social media sites in the future, but please just leave in the comments below. Give some constructive criticism, a little bit of feedback, how you think I did, how you think I can improve. I would really appreciate it. I'm just trying to improve better as a caster and kind of move more into this field as best I can. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.